Hello everybody, it's Hazu here. Today we're doing something a bit different than the content that I usually produce, maybe. We're ranking games on a tier list. I know this is the most original idea you've ever seen on YouTube, but I just want to talk about video games and this is probably the best way to do that I can think of at least. This video isn't scripted, I'm just gonna go through these one by one and, talk about them. So nothing serious, we're just gonna take it easy, so you could just, I don't know, get some snacks maybe, and, just enjoy me talking, if you like that kind of stuff. I don't know, it's up to you. Okay, what am I even saying anymore? I don't know, we can just start. So here you can see the tiers. We have Masterpiece, Amazing, Great, Good, Mid, Bad, and Horrible. And we'll see how many of these will go to Horrible or Masterpiece or any of these in between. So I have gathered some games that I've played. I'm only, of course, gonna rank games that I've personally played. This tier list that I'm using has quite a bit of games. I have by no means played all of these. The ones that I have played, I have gathered here, like at the top. And I also added a few of them. Actually, I haven't added them yet, I'm gonna add them now. There we go, now I've added the few games that were missing. So yeah, this obviously doesn't have every game that I've ever played in my life, but it's not that serious. Also, there are some games here that I've played a long time ago that I can't even remember properly, so it would be kind of weird to judge them. These include, for example, the Skylanders games. Those were bangers, well, let's be honest. And also Lego games, most of Super Mario games. There's a few in here that I remember that I can rank, but most of them, it's been like 10 years since I've played them, so can't really properly judge them. But anyway, let's start. Here we go. Let's start with the first one. It's Spider-Man 2018. Okay, this game is pretty good. I like it. It actually makes you feel like Spider-Man, and the gameplay is really fun. I like the swinging, I like the combat, I think this is just a pretty solid game overall. The story is also good, I really enjoy it, it's one of my favorite Spider-Man stories ever. It is actually surprisingly good, what they're able to do there with the villains and with Peter's character arc and everything. It is just a fun game. I'm thinking between Amazing and Great. I'm not really sure. Like, okay, fuck it. I want to put it in Amazing. It is amazing. Next up, Miles Morales. This is the... I just think of this as a DLC that's just sold on its own. But yeah, this game is really short. It focuses on, of course, Miles. I think Miles is a fun character. There are many people who don't really like him, but I like Miles. I think he's a cool guy, and I like his lightning powers that he has in this game. It's just fun. It's just more Spider-Man, and the story is quite a bit shorter. It doesn't really have the time to get on this game's level, but it's fine to me. It really is. I think it's quite overpriced though, because there really isn't that much content here, so I'm gonna have to put it in good. But it's a fun game. If you can find it on a sale, just play it. This was also the first game that I played on the PS5, so it has that memory. So yeah, that was pretty nice. Next up, Spider-Man 2, the sequel. Okay. Now, Spider-Man 2 is a very safe sequel. What that means is that it's like, it doesn't really add a whole lot more, but then again, what isn't broken shouldn't be fixed. And like I already said, this game had pretty much the perfect Spider-Man gameplay. So, I don't really think they even had to start changing it. It does feel similar to the earlier games, obviously, but like, yeah, I don't think they should tamper with something that is already fine. The story is quite good, I enjoyed it a lot. It's not quite as good as the first game's story, but it still really has some nice moments in there. And I also really like how you can now play as both Peter and Miles, and like they have a lot of new powers, and then you have the symbiote suit that also allows you to use new skills and stuff. It's a really fun game. It is, and I think this game is kind of overhated in a way that, you know, I think after this game came out, people first liked it a lot, but then started like calling it mid and all that stuff. I don't agree with that. I think it's like right here behind the first one. I really enjoyed it. Next, Hogwarts Legacy. Well, this is the controversial game of last year. I actually liked it a lot. Like, I'm a long-time Harry Potter fan, not so much anymore probably, but like when I was a kid, I really enjoyed Harry Potter, and this game was a really nice way to get back into that world. And you know, I think this game has its issues. For example, for me on PC, it ran like ass. That was apparently some processor thing. I don't really know. My PC should be able to run this game perfectly, but yeah, I don't really know what was going on with that. But I really like what they do with like the Hogwarts castle itself and Hogsmeade as well. You have very nice recreations of these locations, these iconic locations. The outside world, like outside of these two locations, it's a bit whatever. I mean, it's just to give this game some scale, I guess. But like, I think overall, it's pretty good for Harry Potter fans. I don't really know how people who haven't like gotten into Harry Potter, I don't know how they would like judge this. But if there's any people here that are watching this that haven't, for some reason, watched any of the Harry Potter movies or read any of the books and have played Hogwarts Legacy, let me know what your experience was like. Like, I am interested. Hogwarts Legacy, I think it's going in. Is it great or good? I don't know. For now, I'm gonna put it in good. Like, I liked it, but I don't know if it's quite great here, but that may change. Okay, Astro's Playroom. This is the PS5 tech demo, kind of. It has a few hours of content. It's fun, you know. This is also a free game. It comes with every PS5, and I think this game does a really good job in like showcasing the PS5's like new stuff that's there, the controller and other gimmicks that the console has. And it's also a really nice trip down a memory lane, and like it's basically tells the history of PlayStation, kind of. It's fun in that way. It's definitely nothing mind-blowing, but I can't put it in mid, but it has to be in good at least. Like, if you have a PS5, you probably already have played it, or if you haven't, you should, absolutely. It is great. This is a really nice first touch to PS5, and I think no game really has taken that much advantage of the console's gimmicks after this game. Obviously, this is a tech demo, but still, I wish more games would like use these kind of gimmicks more. It would be nice. Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, this game is a bit of a sleeper hit. Like, I feel like not many people have actually played this game, and many missed that it even came out like a few years back. Now, okay, this game is surprisingly good. I kind of didn't expect a whole lot of it, but when I played it, I had a good time with it. I don't think the gameplay is perfect. I think it's very flawed at times, but it works well enough. The story here is actually pretty good, and I really like how the characters interact with each other. I think that's the best thing about any Guardians of the Galaxy like media, was movies, comics, games. It always works, and it's really nice to see. It's really fun. I'm gonna put Guardians probably like here in good tier. I feel like I'm putting everything in good, but yeah, I think it fits nicely there. Okay, Resident Evil Village. Now my Resident Evil picks are a bit scattered here, but that's fine, I guess. Village is, I don't know. I enjoyed it. I did. Like, the gameplay in Village is pretty good. It's for Resident Evil, I think the gameplay, like the pure gameplay, you know, pure gunplay combat is like peak gameplay for Resident Evil. It's not a very scary game. There's that one section, the infamous dollhouse, that's a little scary, but other than that, it's not really a horror game. And people really don't like the story of Village. I actually am in the minority here. I like the story. Like, it's not a masterpiece by any means, but it was something enjoyable. But where do I put Village? Where do I put it? It's not great. It is not great. It's not quite great here. I feel like I'm gonna have to put it in good. Above Miles Morales. It's going in there, I think. For Resident Evil games, I just prefer when they go all out with horror. Village, it doesn't even try that, so it doesn't really fail in anything. But that's just my preference, and I think Village is just a fun game. Okay, Deltarune. Wow, this is a bit hard pick here because Deltarune isn't completed. It only has 2 chapters out of 7 out, which isn't even half. So how am I gonna judge Deltarune? I don't really know. Like, I enjoy it. I think it's fun. It's like Undertale. If you played Undertale, you will like Deltarune. The gameplay is pretty much the same, a bit improved, but pretty much the same. I don't really know. I just feel like it's unfair to judge it at this point when it's not even complete. Oh boy. Okay, where do I put Deltarune? I think I have to put this in good tier again. Like, everything is going in good. Maybe like here. Yeah, or I don't know. Here, maybe it may get higher as time goes on and it gets more chapters, but as of now, I think that's the best place for it. Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, okay, you know. I love Cyberpunk. I really do. And I'm so glad that nowadays Cyberpunk is getting the attention it deserves. Like, we all know the horrible launch of it, but now it's a whole different case. People actually really like it. There was the anime adaptation, which was great. I just love the world of Cyberpunk. It is one of my favorite video game worlds of all time, and this also tells a really, really good story. And the DLC has really good story as well. I don't have the DLC here separately, but it counts in here. It counts in here. I love Cyberpunk, but is it amazing or is it masterpiece? I kind of would like to put it in a masterpiece, honestly. Like, I just really, really love it. I think also Cyberpunk is visually one of the most beautiful games out there at the moment. It is truly something special. Like, it is. If you haven't played Cyberpunk, please do. You will not regret it. It's great. It's gonna go to masterpiece for now. I may lower it at some point, but for now it's a masterpiece. Next up, Ghostwire Tokyo. Okay. This is a game that I feel like should not have been open world. Because this game has a lot of cool stuff going on. I really like the world, kind of like the Japanese folklore kind of theme that it has. It's really nice, and it allows for some really cool character designs and stuff. Gameplay is okay in my opinion. It's nothing special. But I really, really got tired of the open world because it really didn't need it. It just created a bit of a headache. But other than, it's just, I think Ghostwire could be like so much better than it is, but it's not like bad. And I think I'm gonna have to put it in good tier again, like, but somewhere like here maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna put it in here. Yeah, it's flawed, but you know, it has some really good things, some not so great things, and I think that's the best place for it at the moment. Okay, Dead Space. I talked about this game a lot in my every game I played in 2023 video, and I really like it. Like, I think Dead Space is one of my favorite horror games out there. It is something really cool. I really like how you like have to fight the enemies by shooting off their limbs and all that stuff. The whole atmosphere in the spaceship is just it's spot on. And I think it definitely deserves at least amazing tier. Probably actually here. And now that I'm thinking of my like placements, I think I'm gonna lower Spider-Man 2 to great. It's not quite here, I don't think. The first one definitely deserves to be here, but I'm just gonna, for now at least, I'm gonna put Spider-Man 2 in great tier and Dead Space and amazing. Okay, Resident Evil 5. I don't know if you're ready to hear this, but I think this game sucks ass. Okay? I hate this game. Okay, let me explain why. I think everything that makes for a good horror game is absent in RE5. It is one of the least scary games I've ever played. The gameplay is... it's not fun. The story I really didn't like. It goes... This is like the moment where Resident Evil gets very goofy, and I don't like that style. Also the AI of Sheva, if you're playing on your own, the AI of Sheva is really bad. Like, she just runs into every possible trap, and of course when she dies you fail as well. It's just infuriating to play, in my opinion. I don't know if it's like, I don't know if it should be like a fully in horrible tier, because I don't know if I would call it a horrible game, but I have the tier here and I don't know what else I'm gonna put in horrible, so Resident Evil 5 is at least gonna go there now. There may be some Resident Evil 5 lovers out here, and for those people I am sorry, but I did not enjoy this game. Okay. Moving on, God of War 2018. Oh boy. Oh boy, indeed. Now, God of War is amazing. Okay, I'm gonna be praising God of War here. The story of the first God of War and the second one too, I mean of these like new God of War games, is really fucking good. Like I think it's one of PlayStation's best like story games. The gameplay is fun as well. It's like it's fun. It's fun. Like, I don't really have much to say about the gameplay. And I just really like the whole, like, relationship between Kratos and Atreus. I think that works beautifully. And, you know, I think it's fully deserving of the amazing tier, probably even here. Like, I really like it, man. I really do. I think God of War is so good. Speaking of God of War, we're of course gonna talk about Ragnarok. Now, Ragnarok I think was a bit more divisive than the first one, but I still like it. Like, it's going... I don't know if it's going... it's like tied with the first one. I think Ragnarok is a really nice evolution of this game. It's a really nice second chapter for the story. Like, Atreus has grown a bit now and the whole relationship is a bit different between these two. I also think Ragnarok has like better villains. Okay, I like Baldur from this game. He's a cool villain. But in Ragnarok you get fucking Thor and Odin. Like, it's just... it's just so nice. And it's also larger in scale. I also like the smaller scale story of this game, but you know, this one has some really nice stuff going on, and it actually has a lot of stakes. And for that, I think it's definitely at least tied with 2018. Okay, Starfield. Okay. Starfield. I think this game is also a bit overhated. It has some good stuff going for it, but oh boy is it flawed. It's like... I think Starfield is probably the definition of mid. Like, it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's bad. Like, I still had, like, fun playing Starfield. It just... Sometimes the gameplay decisions that were made that just leaves you scratching your head, like wondering why, you know, some of the decisions were made. It feels like, I know many people say that Starfield feels like Bethesda hasn't learned anything and isn't even trying to improve. I can't really speak on that personally because I haven't really played a whole lot of Bethesda games. This is the only one that I've finished. So yeah, and don't ask me how I finished this game. I just kinda speedrun through it, but Starfield it's beautiful. I enjoyed it when Starfield is beautiful. It's really beautiful. I like the whole space thing. I love space, and I love exploring space, even though Starfield kind of makes it a little limited. But I still enjoy that stuff. But yeah, of course, Starfield has a lot of stuff that I don't enjoy, like loading screens and boring NPCs, boring story, and all that, you know. But it had some good things going for it, and for that I appreciate it. Overwatch. This is the first Overwatch, and it doesn't even exist, I don't know. But it's at least not, or is it playable? I don't think it is. Anyway, Overwatch in its prime. Okay. When Overwatch was in its prime, like we're talking 2016, 2017, I played a lot of it. Like, this was my go-to game at that time period, and I think when Overwatch was in its peak, it was actually great. Like, I don't know if I put it that high though, but when it was in its peak, it was great. Like, honestly, I had so much fun with this game. It was really enjoyable. Now, of course, let's talk about Overwatch 2 a bit later, but as for Overwatch 1, it kind of started to fall apart, like, after the first few good years. I don't really know where to rank it, because this game has so many, like, different time periods. Like, at some point it was absolutely great, at some point it was mid. So I think I have to put it, like, here. But let's put it in good. But yeah, of course, with games like this, they evolve, and Overwatch has unfortunately evolved for the worse. And speaking of which, we have reached Overwatch 2. Yeah, okay. Overwatch 2 is the most unnecessary sequel of all time. It is basically the same as the first one, but just worse in every way. They got rid of loot boxes, the legendary loot boxes, they replaced with like battle pass and stuff, and they made the matches like, I don't remember, they changed like 5v5 matches or something like that. I haven't played a whole lot of 2, I just gave it a shot like when it released, but it's really not good. Okay, moving on, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. This game I still haven't finished, even though I said I would, but I didn't. But I still liked it, and I don't know why I still haven't finished it, but I liked it. It's nothing, it's not a masterpiece, but I liked it. It's just good. Like, I feel like I'm putting everything in good tier. Okay, whatever, it goes there. Mario Wonder has a lot of cool stuff going for it. Like, it's the first true evolution of 2D Mario since the new Super Mario Bros. Titles. And yeah, I like the Wonder Flower stuff. It creates nice spice for the world and for the levels. But I don't think this is a masterpiece. It's still a quite... I mean, I wish they kind of did more with it. They do a lot of like new stuff, but they could have done a bit more in my opinion. But yeah, it's just fun. Atomic Heart. This is also very divisive. I think Atomic Heart's story is really poorly executed. The story was all over the place, but the world of Atomic Heart is really good. It's really good. It's beautiful. It's very interesting, very unique, kind of. The gameplay, kind of divisive. I liked it. Many people say it's mid gameplay, but I liked the gameplay. I liked the world, but the story really didn't hit. This is also this is going to good tier again, bro. I'm just filling this tier up. I'm gonna put it in there. It has some good stuff, has some bad stuff, but overall, I think it's just fine. Everything is going into the good tier. I'm putting everything in the good tier. I'm so sorry. The next one will definitely not go to good tier. Speaking of which, Final Fantasy VII Remake. This game is great. It's actually not great, I think it's amazing. No. Okay. This game, I haven't played the original. This was my first step into the Final Fantasy franchise. Not just Final Fantasy VII, but the franchise as a whole. And I really, really enjoyed it. I just, like, the world that's being built here is so vast, so deep, and so interesting. The character work is absolutely beautiful. I really love the characters in this game. They're so good, and I could talk about this game for a very long time, but I think this is really a must play for everyone. So please give it a shot. It's really worth it. Okay, I don't know where we rank it. Probably like here. I really, really enjoy it. Oh, and we have Rebirth next. Okay, this is the sequel, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I just recently made a video about this, but I'm guessing that not many people have watched it. So this game, yeah, it's just tied with Remake. It's just more FF7, and it's a great sequel. I still haven't quite finished it. I'm still working my way through it, but I've played it a lot, and I've absolutely loved every second of it. The characters are just so good here too, like they're of course getting development and all. And the world is kind of different than the first one, but it really works beautifully. And I just really enjoy the mysteries this game has, and the overarching story is so fucking good. It's definitely worthy of amazing tier. Actually, probably like over Dead Space even. Actually, I'm not. I'm actually considering to put this above God of War. Well, let's just leave them there for now. Maybe we can change it later. But I love Final Fantasy VII. I really do. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Okay. You know, when I was talking about Dead Space, I said that Dead Space was one of my favorite horror games of all time. Resident Evil 4 is also one of my favorite horror games of all time. Resident Evil 4 isn't really that scary in my opinion. It has its moments. It's not like Village, it has more scary moments than Village. And the story is kinda nice, the characters are nice, the gameplay is really good. This is probably the best gameplay that any Resident Evil title has. It's really fun. It's good. It's definitely worthy of amazing tier. Probably here. I really enjoyed RE4. It's fun. Next up we have a lot of FNAF games here. So I've gathered them all here, except Help Wanted 2. But let's just begin. I'm just gonna try to go through these fast because there's a lot of them. FNAF 1 is good, I think. Like, FNAF 1 is the one that started it all, and it's a very legendary game. You know, I'm not that biggest FNAF fan ever, but I have to appreciate the first FNAF's like legacy, what it's able to do, and how it was able to create this massive franchise. It's also a pretty good game on its own. It's very unique. It was the first game that did anything like this, as far as I know. I think it's definitely worthy of good tier. It's not peak horror, absolutely not, but it's unique, and I appreciate it for that. FNAF 2 probably tied with the first one for me. I think it continued the gameplay formula pretty well, and it added a lot of new things. It added the legendary minigames. I think it's just a nice sequel. FNAF 3, mid, definitely mid. I think FNAF 3 was kind of boring, let's be real. It's boring, but it gave us Springtrap, it gave us more story, but the gameplay is not really my favorite. FNAF 4, oh boy. FNAF 4 I think is actually better than the first one. Probably like here. I think FNAF 4 is the only actually scary FNAF game, except maybe Help Wanted, but we'll talk about that later. But FNAF 4 is actually scary. Like, I'm not scared by that many games, I can play horror games fairly well. But FNAF 4 is actually quite scary at times. I think it's clever how it uses like sound and listening. It's clever, and it works well. So I think FNAF 4 definitely deserves to be there. FNAF World. Okay, maybe better than Overwatch 2. I don't like FNAF World. I think many people like FNAF World. I personally don't. I think it's an RPG game with... It has its charm, yeah. But objectively and in terms of execution, it's just... It's rough. It really is rough. Especially if you've played more RPG games than FNAF World. You know how flawed FNAF World is. Like, yeah... People really have a nostalgic attachment to it. Even I kind of do. But yeah, it's rough. It's rough. Sister Location. I like Sister Location. I think it's going there. Sister Location is, in terms of FNAF games, it's divisive. Very divisive, in fact. There's a lot of people who hate it. There's a lot of people who love it. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think it's nice. Like, I like the sci-fi kind of theme that's going on in there, and I also appreciated how, for the first time in the mainline FNAF games, it like moved away from that same gameplay every night thing and gave us like more like variation in terms of gameplay. I enjoy that, but yeah, it's there. Okay, Pizzeria Simulator's going in bad. No, this is... okay, I'm already hearing the backlash that people are gonna send me when I put it there. But let's be real for a moment, okay? This game has a great ending. And that's the only great thing about this game. The ending is the best ending of any FNAF game. Definitely peak ending there. But everything else is not very good. I appreciated how it allowed us to like customize the pizzeria and all that, but it's just not that exciting. And the main gameplay when you're in the office, it's more frustrating than anything. And for that, I think it's going in bad tier. Ultimate Custom Night. This is mid. I don't know if it's better than FNAF 3 or not, but it's mid. But Ultimate Custom Night, I feel like it's only a sandbox. Like, there's not, like... Apart from trying to beat the hardest modes, there is really nothing to this game. I don't know why it's as beloved as people make it out to be. It's not bad, it's not good, it's mid. That's why it's in the mid tier. Help Wanted. This is the best FNAF game. But where do I put it? I think it's going in there. Not better than Deltarune, but I think that's the worthy place for Help Wanted. And by the way, I have to make this clear. This is Help Wanted in VR mode. If we're talking about flat mode, we're going instantly into the bad tier. I think flat mode is really bad, but VR mode, or like it's built on VR, obviously that's why VR mode is so much better. It's the best FNAF game in my opinion. It's just really good for FNAF. It allows you to like relive the moments of the first games, and it does things really well. I know Help Wanted 2 isn't on this list for whatever reason, but if it was, it would go like right behind Help Wanted. I think they're both pretty fun games. Like honestly, if you haven't tried them and you have the chance to try them in VR, please do, okay? Security Breach. Bad. It's not horrible. Actually, I think it's better than Pizzeria Simulator, but it's bad. Whoa, it's really bad. Okay, actually, I enjoy the atmosphere of Security Breach. I think that style of like 80s retro kind of thing. It works really well, I like that, but then everything else is... Oh boy, the story is... Let's not talk about that story, it's really bad. And the gameplay as well, it's just not fun. But yeah, I think that's the best place for it. Okay, now we have Scorn. Okay, I am fairly good with horror games. I can play many horror games without being scared. That's not a flex, that's just something that I need to get out here before we talk about Scorn. Now, Scorn isn't necessarily a horror game, okay? But the art style of Scorn, and you can call me weak for this, I don't care, you can do that, but Scorn makes me feel extremely uneasy. And that's the only game ever that has made me feel that way. I don't really know, the art style is just, it's good, the art style is good, I appreciate it, but it's gross, it's really gross. And you know, I'm not usually grossed out by things. I've played things like Outlast without any issues. But with Scorn, which isn't technically even a horror game, yeah, it's rough. Yeah, I don't know. It just makes me feel like shit when I'm playing it. And okay, the gameplay isn't perfect. It's just basically puzzles with some very weak combat. I think it's going in mid for that, but I have to appreciate it for its uniqueness and actually making me feel a bit uneasy. So, thumbs up for that, I guess. Okay, moving on from the horror games, we're now to something a bit more lighthearted. We have Ori and the Blind Forest. This game is just a feel-good game, in my opinion. It's a nice platformer, and definitely, like I said, a feel-good game above all. Now, where would I put Ori? Probably in the good tier again. Whole tier is just getting filled with this. Probably like here, I think that's the best placement for it. Like, I had good time with Ori, and I still need to play the sequel. But you know, when I played this game, I had fun with it. Like, it's a feel-good game. It makes you happy. Okay, now we have another set of games, and oh boy, we have the Souls games. Starting off with Demon's Souls, this is the first one, and even though this is the cover for the original Demon's Souls, I haven't played it, I've only played the remake, so think of this as the remake. I think Demon's Souls remake is graphically, in terms of just pure graphics, it's the most beautiful game I've ever played. It is wonderful what it's able to do with that stuff. But then again, the remake doesn't really fix any of the original's issues. For example, the AI of some enemies can be really bad. And I just wish it did more to like improve that experience, because Demon's Souls has a lot of good atmosphere and a lot of good level design. But it also has some very, very frustrating moments. Like if you've played it and you know Ritual Path, that area, like 4-2, that area made me almost quit this game. I think it's one of the worst areas in any of these games. Like, it's underhated. But yeah, the game itself is definitely great. It's going in there. I think that's the best place for it. I had good time with it, except a few areas. If you know, you know. Dark Souls 1. This game's going instantly in the masterpiece tier as number 1. This is my favorite game of all time, and I know the latter half of the game with some of the late game areas, yeah, they are extremely rushed, but like the level design of Dark Souls, the world design, level design, everything, it's unmatched. There is nothing that even comes close to what Dark Souls is able to do with its world design. And it's wonderful. Like, if you haven't played it, I really don't want to talk about it too much, because I just want you to experience it by yourself. But it's mind-blowing. The gameplay is also really good, of course. You know Dark Souls gameplay. Since Dark Souls is one of the older ones of the FromSoft games, it's quite slow, more like slower than the recent ones. But it has a special place in my heart. This was my first Souls game, and for that, it's definitely worthy of my number 1 spot. Dark Souls 2 is the weakest of the bunch. but it's still like good. I don't know where I would put it though. Probably like, I don't know, here. Or here, actually. Like, Dark Souls 2 is also overhated. It's definitely the weakest of the bunch, but I still think it's a good game. Dark Souls 2 is, yeah, it has a lot of bullshit going on. You know, you have adaptability and you know, all that stuff. Some of the levels are poorly designed, and you know, we all know. If you know, you know. But I still had fun with Dark Souls 2, except the bad parts. But aside from that, Dark Souls 2 has some good things going for it, and I think it's underappreciated. Bloodborne, masterpiece. No question about it. You know, it depends on the day. You know, it depends on the day. When if you'd ask me what game is my favorite, it would be one of these. Like, it changes all the time. And I just... Bloodborne... Man. No, even talking about Bloodborne makes me want to play it again. The atmosphere, the world, the gameplay, everything about Bloodborne is perfect, okay? Except the fact that it's only available to play on 30 FPS. That is such a shame. I really wish this game got a PC port, or at least like a PS5 version. Something, please Sony, give us more Bloodborne in some way or another. Like, please do. But yeah, Bloodborne, it's so good. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to spoil it. But if you haven't played Bloodborne, please do yourself a favor and play it. You will not regret it. It is beautiful. Dark Souls 3, also great. Actually amazing even. I'll probably put it like here. Like, okay. Dark Souls 3 is like a mix of Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1. It's like a Dark Souls game, but it's faster. A lot faster actually. And many people think that this is the perfect Dark Souls gameplay. And that's probably why they used it for Elden Ring. Basically, pretty similar gameplay. But Dark Souls 3, it has the best bosses in the franchise, I think. Like, I think still to this day, Dark Souls 3 has the best bosses. Like, the second half and the DLCs, the bosses are incredible. Like, actually incredible. But I think Dark Souls 3 falls a bit weak on like the... Well, I wouldn't say like level design, but Dark Souls 3 has this kind of grey filter on top of it for some reason. It's divisive, it fits the narrative and the lore, but I don't really like it that much. But still, Dark Souls 3 is a fantastic game. The game, of course, the level design, like in terms of, you know, how the levels are built, it's still top notch, and the gameplay is top notch. Go play it, please. Next up is Sekiro. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, it's a masterpiece. It is definitely masterpiece worthy. I love Sekiro. Sekiro, I think, has one of the best gameplay formulas of all time, just like all of the other ones. But Sekiro is different. It's way faster. It revolves around like deflecting, and it's just really good. I feel like every FromSoft game is getting a high placement here, and for a good reason. Sekiro is beloved by many people, and like I said, it's just peak. It is peak. I don't know what I could say about it, it's just amazing. And let's finish it off. Elden Ring. Yeah. Okay. 4 out of 5 in the masterpiece tiers are FromSoft games. Okay, Elden Ring, best open world game ever made. That's my opinion on it. The gameplay is pretty much the same as Dark Souls 3, like the combat is actually a bit improved in my opinion, but it's very similar. It's great. It's just simply great. Like, the first time when you're playing Elden Ring, it's an enlightening experience, you know, exploring the world for the first time. It's something that I will never forget, and I really want to re-experience that with the DLC, and I can't wait for that. And yeah, it's such a special game. I think when Elden Ring released, on the first day, I played for like 12 hours straight. And That's a lot for me. I never do that. Like, I never play that much in like one go, except for Elden Ring, and I'm probably gonna repeat that for anything that FromSoft puts out. Definitely worthy of masterpiece tier. Resident Evil Revelations. Okay, now we're back to Resident Evil Revelations. This is the one where they're on the ship, right? Yeah. I don't really remember a whole lot of this. Like, I think this is just a fun game. I don't know if I would put it. It's definitely not mid though. It's not mid. It's where'd it go there? It's like, I'm gonna put it there. I don't remember like super. I don't remember enjoying the Revelations like that much, but I also really don't remember hating it. It's a very weird entry, I feel like. It has its moments, but it's still, I think, on the weaker side of Resident Evil games. But it's definitely not bad, like, don't get me wrong there. It's a good horror game. Yeah, I'm gonna put it there, but I don't remember that much of it. Undertale, okay. Undertale is beloved by many people. It's also beloved by me. At one point, before I started playing like AAA games, like more, Undertale was one of my favorite games. No, it's definitely not one of my favorite games, but it's still good. I would probably put Undertale here. It's hard to compare it to Deltarune again, because Deltarune isn't, like I said, unfinished. But Undertale, it just does things super well. Like, I think you have to enjoy Undertale when you play it for the first time. I don't know anyone who hasn't enjoyed Undertale when playing it. Like, it's a really nice story and a really nice world, really nice characters. It's just overall a solid package. Like, I think everybody should play Undertale, even though it's in good tier. The Last of Us. Oh. Speaking of good stories. Okay. Last of Us. Where to put it? It's definitely a masterpiece, but I don't know where to put it. Okay, it's going there now. The Last of Us has the best story I have ever experienced in a video game. And I need to make that clear. I think nothing can come close to the story of The Last of Us, the first Last of Us. The gameplay is fine, the world is beautiful, characters are beautiful, but the story itself and the relationship between Joel and Ellie, you don't have something like that other than the first Last of Us. It's one of a kind, at least for now. And for that, I highly appreciate it. SOMA. How do you spell it? SOMA? SOMA? I don't know. I'm gonna call it SOMA. So SOMA is... I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, it's the underwater game. Underwater horror game. Okay, this game, people really like this game. And I'm gonna be brutally honest, I was not really enjoying SOMA. Like, I wasn't scared of this game one bit. Like, if you have, I don't remember what that phobia is called, but I know there's a phobia of like robots under sea or something like that. If you have that very specific phobia, you will probably shit yourself while playing this game. But I wasn't scared of it. I just felt like I was super bored when playing SOMA. Like, I wouldn't call it a bad game, but I wouldn't call it very engaging either. Definitely overrated in my eyes, like absolute mid, I think. It's not bad, but I really did not like it that much, okay. But what I did like a lot, actually, is Alan Wake 2, okay. I don't know how many people here have actually played Alan Wake 2. But for those that have, I think you loved it, right? Hopefully. Because I sure did. Because I think Alan Wake 2 is quite possibly my favorite horror game of all time. And I don't know where to rank it, probably here. Now, Alan Wake 2 does something with its storytelling that no other game that I've ever played has done. And I don't know how to really explain it. It's kind of a meta-narrative kind of stuff, but it's very unique in a way. I don't know how to talk about this game without spoiling it, but just know that the story in this game is so unique that you've never seen anything like this before. And it's also damn scary when it wants to be, so that's why it's one of my favorite horror games, if not my favorite horror game of all time. But you should definitely play this game if you enjoy horror games. Alan Wake 2 has to be on your to-do list, okay? Next up we have the Tomb Raider trilogy. The first Tomb Raider is actually a great game. It's actually... oh, I'm gonna put it there. The first Tomb Raider, I really enjoyed it. Like, this is the game that I like to call my AAA awakening. It sounds silly, but listen to me. This is like when I got kind of that... I kind of got out of my little indie bubble that I was in for a long time. You know, when I was just playing indie games, which there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, now I'm really appreciated that I got kind of out of that bubble, because now I have a chance to experience all of these incredible games, AAA or indie, it doesn't matter. But Tomb Raider is kind of what broke that bubble. And this game is genuinely pretty good. It's a really nice, like, adventure game, and that's really about it. I don't think the story was all that special, but like just exploring and climbing and all that stuff, it was just really cool and really enjoyable. So I think this is a game that more people should definitely try out. Rise of the Tomb Raider is weaker than the first one in my opinion. It's not a bad game, but it's definitely weaker. I'm gonna put it there. I kinda preferred the atmosphere of the first game, that kind of island theme. Well, this has like a snowy theme for the most of it. But yeah, I think Rise of Tomb Raider probably had a better story, but everything else was... and better gameplay as well, that's true. But I just personally really liked the atmosphere of the first game more, but it's by no means a bad game. I think you should also give it a try. Shadow of the Tomb Raider it's the weakest of the bunch, but it's not bad. It's going there. This has the jungle theme, and I just found this game to be the least engaging, but it's still a good, like, adventure game. And yeah, I think the whole trilogy is pretty solid. Like, they're all like close to each other in how good they are. I think that's a sign of a nice trilogy, and you should try it. Uncharted 4, from one adventure game to another. Uncharted 4, man, okay. Is it better than Tomb Raider? I don't know. I'm gonna put it there. I enjoyed it. I think the story is way better than Tomb Raider, but I kinda enjoy... I don't know why, but that island theme of Tomb Raider really just... it's something special for me. Uncharted 4 is also good in its atmosphere. Gameplay is... it's what you should expect from these types of games, obviously. But yeah, I like it. I have fun playing it, and I think it's definitely a great game. I don't really know how to talk about it more. Mirror's Edge Catalyst. This is the sequel to Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge isn't on this list apparently. I've played it at some point, don't remember it, that's why it's here, not here. But Catalyst I remember, and it's... okay, it's better than these two, but it's not good. I'm kind of thinking if I should put this in mid or bad. It's not like bad, but then again I don't know. It's good for the first hour, I think, but after that it really falls short. This is also an open world game, open world parkour thing, which sounds cool in concept, but it's really not that special. It gets boring so quickly, and they also try to add like combat to it, and it just doesn't work really. I don't know, I felt like the whole world felt like pretty boring, and yeah, I think boring is the right word for this game. Okay, Dead by Daylight. This game I haven't played a whole lot. I think it's kind of unfair to judge this. So I'm not gonna judge this. I'm gonna actually take it off the list. Because it wouldn't be fair. Breath of the Wild. Okay. Breath of the Wild. Where do we put Breath of the Wild? I'm thinking great, or actually, yeah. I'm putting in amazing. Okay. This is the Zelda kind of reboot, I think. It introduces this open world style that many love, and I love too. It's the same style of open world that Elden Ring uses, and I think Elden Ring does it better, but Breath of the Wild is just relaxing, just super nice. If you just want a big world that you can explore without a care in the world, Breath of the Wild is probably the way to go. And speaking of Breath of the Wild, we're also gonna speak about Tears of the Kingdom, which I think is a better version of Breath of the Wild. I think Tears of the Kingdom does everything better. Okay, actually, fun fact, I played these two back to back. Like, yeah, I know, they're big games, massive games, and I wasted so much time playing through them both back to back, but Tears of the Kingdom left a better impression for me. And I think it was also what I consider to be my last year's game of the year. I had so much fun with this, even after having played all of Breath of the Wild before. You know, just going to Tears of the Kingdom, I was so engaged. Like, it's Breath of the Wild, but everything is better in my opinion. Yeah, that's really all I can say about it. It's amazing. Hollow Knight. Okay, Hollow Knight is great. Hollow Knight is definitely great. It's going in there, I think. Hollow Knight is probably the closest, if we're not talking about Elden Ring, but if we're talking about just like level design, I think Hollow Knight is the closest to come to like Dark Souls in its level design. It's not quite there, but it has very nice level design and world design as a whole. Everything is kind of interconnected. Hollow Knight has a lot of good things going for it. I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. There's a lot of content, a lot of things to do. People kept telling me that Hollow Knight is like super difficult, and I would cry when I'm playing it because it's so hard and all that stuff. And for that, I have to say that that is a lie. I think, okay, I believe that some of the side content can be painfully difficult, but the main game, the main like story, is really not that difficult. I never died more than like 3 times to a boss. It is not as hard as people say it is, but it's nonetheless very enjoyable, and definitely I think this is the best. This is the best ranking for it. Resident Evil 7. Okay. Resident Evil 7 is amazing. Amazing. Actually, probably going there. Like I said earlier when I was talking about Village, I appreciate it when Resident Evil goes all out with the horror. And 7 does it the best. Okay? I love Resident Evil 7. I think the whole atmosphere is so tense and so scary, like anything could happen at any moment, and it's a really frightening game, and it really works well with its horror style. And I'm so glad that Resident Evil went back to this style, you know, after RE6. So yeah, I really loved 7, and I think it's also one of the best horror games that I've played. Outlast. This is a classic. Definitely a classic. But it hasn't aged that well. I don't know where to put Outlast. Probably here. Yeah, here. Okay. My voice is starting to crack now. I've been talking for so long. But Outlast is scary. Yeah. I like the camera mechanic there. You have to use the camera to like see in the dark. It creates nice tension. It's not as scary as people say it is, in my opinion, but it's still a really good horror game. Like, if you just want to feel powerless, I don't know why you would not want to, but if you, for some reason, you want to feel powerless, Outlast is the game to go for. Okay, Outlast 2 is significantly worse, in my opinion. I would even put it in mid tier. Let me see. Okay, it's going in there. Outlast 2 is not very scary. I don't know if that's a controversial statement, but I wasn't really feeling scared when playing this game. The only like actually kind of scary parts of it are the school flashback things. But the, like when you're in the like the I don't know village or whatever, it just doesn't feel as claustrophobic as the first game, which made the first game more scary. But Outlast 2, I think it's definitely overrated. Like it's not that good, okay? Mario Kart 2, okay. Why is this here? I haven't played it enough. It's like kind of like with Dead by Daylight, I can't really judge it. Mario Odyssey. This is like the only Mario game apart from Wonder that I remember. I played this like a long time ago when it released. But I still do remember it. Like it's not like a forgettable experience or anything. I had fun with it. I really did. I think this is a nice placement for it. It's just a really fun game. And I think it adds a lot. It adds a lot to the 3D Mario formula. And I wish we got a new game, a new 3D Mario game, that would be nice. But Odyssey it's all around just a really fun experience. I feel like I've been saying this about all of these games, but Odyssey is once again a feel-good game. And you can do a lot of cool stuff in it. It has a lot of content, and for a Mario fan, you should definitely play it. Okay, Assassin's Creed Origins. This is the only Assassin's Creed game that I've ever played in my life, like completed. This game is I don't know, like I would kind of want to put it in mid or good. Actually, it's probably going in good, like here. I like the world. The world is beautiful. The story is pretty good. But what I really didn't like about this is, well, the gameplay is kind of mediocre, when the combat especially. And this game kind of forces you to do side quests, which I hated. Like basically it doesn't allow you to fully progress if you don't have a certain level. And to reach that certain level you have to like do side quests. Basically it's the fastest way to reach that level. So I really didn't like that because the side quests are kinda terrible. But I appreciate it. The world is nice. If you love ancient Egypt, I think Origins does a good job portraying that kind of time period. I just realized I've been recording for an hour, so I have to record this later. My voice is gone, bro. Okay, see you in a bit. So it is now day 2 of recording this video. Yeah. Yesterday my voice couldn't handle this anymore, so we're now returning to it. I still have a few games left, quite a few actually. But yeah, let's just get this over with. OMORI. Okay, and I know many people like to think that this game is a masterpiece. I don't agree with that. I appreciate it for what it does with... How should I say this? It deals with interesting themes and it does it really well, but as a game it's like from the gameplay perspective it's a really average RPG, and I would lie if I wasn't bored when I was playing this. It has some good moments, but it is by no means a masterpiece. I would probably put it in good tier, maybe like here. I think that's a pretty good placement. Cuphead. Okay, I love Cuphead. It's a good game. It's a very difficult game, but it is also a feel-good game for me personally. The art style is of course the standout. You know, we all know that Cuphead's art style is beautiful, and the gameplay is fun. It's boss rush. Of course, you love boss rush. The run and gun levels, they are not as good, but you know the bosses are very solid. And yeah, I think Cuphead definitely deserves to be in the great tier at least. Maybe here. I don't think it's quite there with Hollow Knight. I think that's pretty good placements. Oh boy, Red Dead Redemption 2. When I was talking about The Last of Us, I mentioned that this game has the best story I've ever seen in a video game. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the second best story. It also has the most immersive world in any video game. And goddamn, it's really good. I'm thinking. I don't think it's quite masterpiece tier, but it's definitely amazing tier. Probably, actually, I'm gonna put it there. I really enjoyed this game, and the story is, like I said, it's really good, and I think it's a game that's not for everybody. It's a very slow game, but if you can appreciate slow, good storytelling, this is the way to go. The gameplay it's a bit at times, I think, but that's just because it tries to be very realistic, and I appreciate that, so it's a good game. Okay, more Resident Evil. We have the Resident Evil 2 remake. Yeah, this is definitely going in amazing, but where though? I have this. Actually, I'm gonna put it there. I have this like straight line of horror games here. 5 horror games that I feel like are just, you know, the best of horror games in my eyes, and they're in a nice row here. And I think Resident Evil 2 I have to just put there. It's very different than Resident Evil 4. It's kinda similar to Resident Evil 7 in terms of gameplay, kinda. But yeah, it's really good, and it definitely builds horror really well. And I really enjoyed my time with it, and actually I think Resident Evil 2 has the best story in any Resident Evil games, even though the story isn't usually the thing that you focus the most on in Resident Evil, but I really enjoyed the story too. Resident Evil 3. This is... Okay, I had fun with this game, but we have to acknowledge that this is just a glorified DLC for Resident Evil 2. This is a very short game. I think it took me like 4 hours to beat or something like that. I haven't played the original Resident Evil 3, but I know that this remake, cut out a lot of content from that game, which is of course a shame. But where do I put it? I still think it's a good game though, but definitely not for the full price. Probably going into the good tier. I'm gonna put it there. If this game was longer and the quality was like the same throughout the whole thing, it would be higher, because I had fun with it. It's a good game, but it's just really short. That's kind of what drags it down. Devil May Cry 5. This is again a game that many consider to be a masterpiece, and I don't agree with that fully. It's a good game. It has a good combat system, and overall I really like the world of Devil May Cry. It's very enjoyable. And of course the gameplay is the main focus of the AMC, obviously. But I don't think it's not a masterpiece. Like, it's good, I think. Probably like here. I think this is a good placement. Like, I had fun with it, but it's not something that I would herald as a masterpiece. Like, I don't really understand where that comes from. But it's still a good game though. Code Vein, okay. This is Souls-like, this is anime Souls. I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. It's definitely nowhere near as good as the From Software Souls games. But Code Vein, I had fun with it. Probably going in here. You know, it looks kinda weird at first, but when you start playing it, it's actually quite fun. But don't expect it to be like as good as FromSoft games, obviously. But for what it is, I appreciate it. Okay. Speaking of Souls-likes, Lies of P, however, is one of the best ones, like best non-FromSoft games. probably great or amazing. I'm gonna put it there, in great. Lies of P is an excellent Souls-like, but it's also, it has some flaws. Yeah, the combat can be really punishing and really like very difficult, like frustratingly difficult at times. But it's still a damn good game. Like, this is, of course, this game takes inspiration from both Bloodborne and Sekiro, and that shows. The world is the closest we'll ever get to Bloodborne on PC, and it works beautifully. The gameplay is more like Sekiro, and it works. I really enjoy it. And if you're looking for a non-From Software Souls-like, I think Lies of P is quite possibly the best one out there. From the ones that I've played, Lies of P is definitely on top. Another Souls-like kind of Jedi Fallen Order. This is nowhere near as hard as Code Vein or Lies of P, but it doesn't have to be. This is a Star Wars game, of course, and it fits nicely into the Star Wars universe, and the gameplay is really fun. It's once again kind of like Sekiro, but way less punishing. I actually really had fun with this game. Like, actually, man, I think it's actually worthy of great tier. But it's better than Hollow Knight or Cuphead or Tomb Raider. Actually, fuck it, I'm gonna put it there. So yeah, I had fun with it. I hope I can one day play the sequel if they ever fix it on PC. I don't know how it's on console at the moment. I just have to look into it. I really want to play it, but when I tried to play it on PC, it was really broken. Ran like absolute ass. But yeah, the first game is great. I really enjoyed it. Half-Life Alyx. Now don't burn me on a Rovio. This is the only Half-Life game I've ever played. And it was because when I got VR headset, I just wanted to play the best VR games out there, and everybody recommended Half-Life Alyx. And yep, they were absolutely right. I think Alyx is still the best VR game out there. It's like, it really feels like a high budget game, which it is. And this is what I hope VR could get more of in the future. And Alyx is a really good game for that. I would like to put it in great, like maybe here. It's a must play for every VR headset owner. Like seriously, you can't get better than Half-Life Alyx in my opinion. Ghost of Tsushima. Okay, this is going into amazing right off the bat. Do I have to break my horror row here? I think I have to. Gotta put it in there. Ghost of Tsushima, actually, that's better. Ghost of Tsushima is a game that offers, once again, a really nice story. Like, the story is, once again, the focus. And the gameplay is actually surprisingly good. It's this kind of sword fighting. It's not quite like Sekiro's combat, but it's kind of similar, I guess. And the only thing that kind of annoys me is the open world. I didn't find it that good, in my opinion. But the story is really good, and it's really worth playing. Like seriously, this is also coming on PC like in a few months. So if you haven't played it yet, go pick it up. It's a great game. Hades. Okay. Hades is roguelite. I didn't finish Hades. It's a very long game, and to me it kind of got a little repetitive. But I played a lot of it, and for what it is, it's excellent in what it tries to do. I think I have to settle with a great tier though. It's not, like, this is once again a game that people really like to think of as a masterpiece. It's a really good game, but I wouldn't call it a masterpiece. But I still had a lot of fun with it, and you know, I'm looking forward to the sequel. And this game just allows so much content. Like, there's so much content and so many different ways to play it, and I just have to appreciate it for that. Like, yeah, it's also a pretty cheap game. You can find it for like, I don't know, 10 bucks, 15, 20 bucks. Just, I would definitely recommend to give it a try. It's fun. Okay. Last of Us Part 2. This is definitely a controversial title. I think in terms of like visuals and gameplay, it's really good. Like, this is one of the best, especially the remaster. It's one of the best looking games I've played. But I don't like the story. I really don't like the story, which is of course the main focus of Last of Us. I'm gonna put it in mid. That's a heavy hitter. I don't know if that's too harsh, but actually it's way too harsh. It's way too harsh. It is way too harsh. I'm not putting it in mid. I'm gonna put it in good. Last of Us Part 2, I feel like it just felt worse to me because it felt worse to me than it probably actually is. Like I said, the first Last of Us has the best story in a video game, in my opinion. So the sequel it's nowhere near as good. It is quite a laughable execution there with the story. With the first game you have so many memorable characters and events, and everything just sticks in your mind because it's so good and so engaging. But with the sequel, I don't even remember the characters' names, and I'm not hating the game because in the beginning there's a scene, something happens to one of the characters that many people hate the game for. I don't hate it for that, although I do think it could have been executed better. But I do hate it. I mean, I don't hate it, but I do dislike it because the characters are just not very interesting, apart from few. But there's a lot of characters that you just forget about. Like, they just die and they're never mentioned again. And it's like, how? Like, the first game already did it so well. Like, how did you drop the ball here? That's why it's going in there. Ghostrunner. Ghostrunner has great gameplay. And the world of Ghostrunner is pretty cool, I have to admit. And yeah, speaking of cool, this game really makes you feel like cool. The first Ghostrunner is really good. Like, I want to put it high. I want to put it in there. Like, I had so much fun with this game. Like, if you want a really nice first-person action game, this is probably the best you can get that I've found. It is extremely fun. You have to give this a shot. It's also very difficult, so if you like difficulty, this is definitely for you. Ghostrunner 2 is a bit of a downgrade. It's not a huge downgrade, but it's a bit of a downgrade. It's good. It's going in good tier. Probably like here. Like, Ghostrunner 2 is it has a lot of like this. It's very similar to the first one in certain areas, but when it tries to like quote unquote evolve, it kind of gets a little wacky with like, there's this one big area that's kind of like a half open world area, and it's shit. Like, I just have to say it honestly, it's bad. But everything else it's good. I didn't like the story as much, but that's not a focus. That's not the focus with this game, so I can't really take points away from that. But it's still a good game. If you just want more Ghostrunner, it's worth playing. BioShock Infinite. Oh boy, you guys are not ready for this convo. BioShock Infinite is actually not that good, but it's still good, but not that good. Like, I enjoyed the world. That's like, the world and the whole atmosphere is really good, but everything else is kinda, it's not very good. Like, the gameplay it's serviceable, but it could be a whole lot better. This is also the only BioShock game I've ever finished. I love the I really love the world of BioShock. It's great. Of course, BioShock Infinite is a bit different than the other ones, but it's still amazing in terms of the world itself. But the gameplay is just, I don't like it. I just don't enjoy it. Like, and the story of Infinite is, I didn't even understand it at all. Like, I was completely lost. But yeah, it is not as good as people say it is. But you know, I can't. It's still a fun game. Like, I still had like, I still played it through. So you know, I enjoyed it, I guess. But it is very overrated. Okay, now we have the Batman games. This is, hold on, let me see. This is Arkham Asylum. Yes. Arkham Asylum is it's pretty good. I'm gonna put it in there. Arkham Asylum is a very like I wouldn't say self-contained, but contained experience, and it works well. I liked it. Like the story is surprisingly good, and Batman's like the gameplay of the Batman games is great. I enjoyed it a lot. It's exactly how you'd think of how Batman deals with his enemies, and it's really well executed. And I do like Asylum, but I do think the Arkham series gets better with Arkham City, which is definitely worthy of great tier in my opinion. Arkham City is bigger, it's better, and I feel like it just improves on everything in my opinion. It's open world unlike the first one, but it doesn't matter. It's cool as shit gliding through the city as Batman, and I enjoyed Arkham City a lot. This one is Arkham Origins. This is definitely the weakest one. It's not bad, but it's definitely the weakest. Gonna put it in there. So Arkham Origins is kind of I think it was released after Arkham City, but it kind of feels like a tech demo of Arkham City, if that makes any sense. I don't know, it just felt like a worse version of Arkham City. like the story is fine, but everything just felt like worse than Arkham City, but still very similar. So that's really why I'm gonna put it in there. I haven't played Arkham Knight, that's why it's not on the list, but I hope I can play it at some point. GTA 5. GTA 5 is great. It is great. I would almost like to put it in Masterpiece tier. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I have spent so much time on GTA 5. Like, just driving around, doing anything. Like, just fucking around. That's the best thing of GTA 5. I also like the story, but like, the best thing is definitely just getting immersed in the city and just doing whatever you want. That's GTA at its best, in my opinion. And GTA 5 does that beautifully. This is why I'm really waiting for GTA 6, because I know I can get immersed again and just fuck around again in the city. And it's so fun. It's such a fun game. And I just have to, it has to go to the Masterpiece tier. Like, I've spent so much time on it. It definitely deserves this. If you disagree, that's fine, but this is my tier list. Okay, this is a very interesting pick here. Guitar Hero. Does anyone remember Guitar Hero? Like, this is like that Xbox 360, PS3 era like stuff. It's a rhythm game, obviously. You probably at least seen some version of Guitar Hero at some point, because it was a really big deal back in the day. And the reason I've only picked 3 here is that this is the one I played the most. I've played the other ones as well. I think I've played like almost all of them. Like, there's a lot of these games, and I think I've played almost all of them. But I'm not gonna put them all here because some of them are really similar to each other. But 3 is the best one. And this is kind of a hard one to rank. Well, this is my own personal bias. I think Guitar Hero is the best rhythm game there is, and this is my excuse to talk about it. And It's such a shame that we don't have more Guitar Hero games. Like nowadays, the series is over, it's cancelled. But we still do have Clone Hero, which is the fan-made version. And the community is still alive, which is impressive. But I really do hope that one day we would get a new Guitar Hero. Like, please make that happen. Rayman Origins and Legends. These are some really solid platformers. Like, really solid platforming. Actually, fuck. I think it's actually worthy of great tier even. Actually, okay. Origins is going in there. Origins is the first one of these like new Rayman titles. Well, new and new. They're not really new anymore, but you know, compared to the older ones. Origins is a really fun game. Like, playing this co-op is just such a nice experience. And yeah, it's so cool. Legends is a step up. It's definitely great tier. Maybe here. Legends is, I think, a slightly better version. There's more to do in Legends, I feel like, and it just feels like the perfect evolution. And I really hope that one day we get a new Rayman game like this. These games are really fun. Like, please give them a shot. I played them a lot when I was a kid, and it's a really nice experience. Okay, now we have Portal and Portal 2. Now, if we were ranking puzzle games, these both would be masterpiece tier. But since we're kind of like ranking everything in one, it's kind of a difficult thing to do. I think I'm gonna put the first Portal like around here. Like, it's a really nice puzzle game. Like, of course, I think most of you have played Portal. It's a classic. And if you haven't, yeah, you should probably go do that. Like, in terms of just pure puzzles, I think the Portal franchise does it really well. And it's such a nice experience, you know, when you're trying to solve a puzzle and then you finally, like, something clicks in your head and you realize how you're supposed to do it. It's a nice feeling, and Portal is great at what it does. Portal 2 is even better. Portal 1 is like a really short game, but Portal 2 is way longer. I think it's... fuck, okay, I'm gonna put it there. Portal 2 is the perfect evolution of Portal. And there's more mechanics, more stuff to do. It's a way longer game. It's hilarious also. I love the humor in Portal. It's definitely a super nice game. Okay, we have 2 more games left. And we have CSGO. Now, Counter-Strike Global Offensive doesn't exist anymore, kind of. I mean, it's been replaced with CS2, but they're basically the same game. Back in the day, CSGO was my like #1 go-to game. Like, if you were to ask me like 5 years ago, you know, this would be really high on the list. Like, I played CSGO for so long and so much and way too much actually. And it's really nice. Like, it's a nice team shooter, and definitely if you have like a team of your friends, it's so fun. You know, you can have your tactics and whatever, and it's a really strategical game, and I really appreciate it. But oh, where did it go? But compared to the other ones, it's not really... I don't know where to rank it. That's the problem here, because I have so many different types of games. So it's really difficult to put them on a tier list. CSGO is personally... oh man. This doesn't mean it's bad though. Like, back in the day it would probably be in the amazing tier, but now I haven't played it for quite a while, like actively. So yeah, it's now in there. Okay. This is the last game I have here, which is The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, I think this is. I haven't played that many Zelda games. I've played 3, 2 of which are already here. Link Between Worlds is a very different type of a Zelda game than these two. But I really remember I really remember enjoying this. Like, I think this is the Zelda game that not many people talk about. I played this on the 3DS, I don't know if it was released outside of that. But it's a fun game. Like, I don't know if it's great tier, but it's definitely like here. Like, I remember having super nice memories with this game. Like, I played this in an airplane and whatever. Man, I just remember all the memories kind of flooding in. It's a fun game, and for that I think it deserves to be here. I think that's about it for this tier list. Of course, I haven't played every game on this list. There are some games that I definitely should play, and you're probably screaming that, hey, how is it possible that you haven't played this and that? And I'm sorry. And if my opinions offended you, I'm also sorry. That was not my intention. But this is my tier list. Now you can see it on the screen, the whole finished tier list. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched this all the way through, respect if you did. And I think I'm gonna see you in another video. Hopefully we can make something like this again, if you liked it, of course. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you later.